This is the Significant Man Recharge Show. I'm your host, Warren Peterson, and welcome to the 5-Minute Friday. We're living in a culture that's creating, and even at times happy about having, a fatherless society. You've heard the lines, men are optional, a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle, or that with medical advancements, men aren't even needed to create life anymore, and on and on. But the reality is that despite the push of society, despite men often being told they're an accessory and not really important anymore, the stats are overwhelming. Here's just a small sample of some of the statistical data about fatherless homes. 43% of U.S. children live without their father. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. 75% of all adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers come from fatherless homes. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. Over 70% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. 85% of all children who show behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists with serious anger problems come from fatherless homes. 71% of pregnant teenagers come from fatherless homes. 70% of youths in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes. And 85% of all youths in prison come from fatherless homes. These stats go on and on. If I listed all the stats about fatherless homes, it would take up an entire episode. So what do we do with all this? Why do fathers matter? Do they matter? I mean, it's one thing to know these stats and to know this reality. It's another thing entirely to move on then to the next part of this conversation. Now, first, all too often, this is positioned as a men versus women issue. But that's not what my work is about. That's not what this podcast is about. It's not about an us versus them kind of situation. This is about men owning their realities and what God has called us to do. As men, we need to fill our roles as fathers. Men need to stand up and lead. Men need to accept the responsibility of the life they helped to create. And yes, I understand that there are legal and there are court issues that can get in the way here. That's definitely an issue, but that's a different issue from what we're talking about today. Everyone in our society needs to accept that fathers are not accessories. Fathers are not optional. Fathers are a critical component of life and of raising children. I hear the pain in the voices of some of the men that I work with, adult men who still today bather the wounds from their fathers not being in their lives. It's the kind of wound that stays with a man. Without a father, men have a hard time in identifying their place in the world. They have a hard time understanding who they're supposed to become, and they have no one to model manhood after themselves. This is exactly what leads to the stats, and it's what is leading to the pain, the confusion, and the crisis of identity. God designed fathers, and He made us vitally important in our families. As a father, you teach your sons and daughters what a father is, what he's to sound like, how he's to act, what his role is within the family, and on and on. Your daughters, when they're older, they'll seek out men who are like you. Your sons, when they're older, they're going to become men like you. So men, stand up. Take your role as a father. Own it. It will take work. There's going to be times of pain. There'll be obstacles and challenges. But there's also going to be incredible moments of fun, good times, and the joy of watching your children grow into good adults. You absolutely must stand up and become the fathers that God created you to be. Teach your kids the good lessons of life. Play and laugh and have fun. Enforce boundaries and then be flexible when needed. If you don't know when or how to do any of this, ask God for wisdom and He will provide it to you. As a father, you are a role model to your kids. Whether you see them once an hour or once a month, you are a role model. Use whatever opportunity you have to be an example to them of what a Christian father looks like. Model for them the love that God has for His children. Show your kids with your actions that you love them. Tell your kids with your words that you love them. Do this every opportunity you get and then create opportunities to do it more. So no matter where you are today, no matter how old your kids are, you can become that man. You can become that father. And you get to choose to do that starting today. Because yes, Fathers matter. Hey, before you go, please be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you listen to your podcasts and leave a review. 5 stars is, of course, the desired number of stars. Your ratings and your reviews, they really help other people find the show, so thank you for that. All right, enjoy the next show, guys.